aka Bullets, YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Starting at pole position is Lightning McQueen, with the king to his outside. Row 2 has Tony Gassworth and Hollingus, who sit 4th and 5th in points, respectively. Row 3 has the Mean Green Carcatex and Chuck Armstrong, who's had a good last few races. Row 4 has Kevin Shiftright and Moray Clutchburn. I don't know what they're going to do this race. Row 5 has Jeff Corvette trying to get out of this bad season, and Ryan Newcar, the Rocket. Row 6 has Ernie Gearson, who has not won for over 10 years, and Todd Marcus, who's won once. Row 7 has teammates Greg Beeple and Matt Karzeth, who have 2 teammates that are out for the season. Row 8 has Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Billy Oilchanger. Row 9 has Eugene Kobareski, who won't be able to wreck Ken Schrader, and Misty Motocross. I hope Claude Scruggs is happy. Row 10 has Darren Leadfoot, who won 1 race this season, and Krusty Rotor. Row 11 has Floyd Mulvihill with Kevin Carvick to his outside. Row 12 has James Cleanair and Johnny Blamer. Green cars that are not mean. Row 13 is Winford Bradford Rutherford and Ruby Easy Oaks. I hope they can do something. Row 14 is Sage Vanderspin and Kenny Wheelhouse, who'll be replacing Kurt Buschtire. Row 15 has another Kenny Shiftright, and Johnny Spinner, making his first start this season. Row 16 is Mac Icar and Paunchy Wipeout. I hope they do something. Row 17 is Brush Kerber and Lee Revkins, who's having better performances this season. Row 18 is Buck Schooner and Kevin Racing Tire, making his second start this season. Row 19 has Davey Apex, not starting, from 43rd, and Greg Candyman, who's outside. Row 20 has Slider Petrolski and Bill Gears, making his second start this season. Row 21 has Ryan Shields and Dirksen D'Agostino, who returns from over 30 races of DNQing, and starting in 43rd is Sammy Smelter! You still stink! And these 3 cars failed to qualify for this race, among many others. Now onto the race itself. Lightning McQueen would lead for the first 45 laps of the race before pit cycles, and that allows Winford Bradford Rutherford to take the lead from him. But Lightning McQueen would come back onto the track, leading all the way until lap 59, where Hollingus would take the lead from him. He'd lead until lap 78, where Eugene Kobareski would take the lead without bumping anyone. He'd lose the lead on lap 83 to the King. The King would lead for 6 laps before Paunchy Wipeout would take the lead for 20 laps before Lightning McQueen would retake the lead. He'd lead until lap 136, where, oh no! He cuts a tire and hits the wall! Now Johnny Blamer is out! And Lightning McQueen is down 5 laps to get the damage repaired. Chuck Armstrong would take the lead from Lightning McQueen, leading for 9 laps before Todd Marcus would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 3 laps, but unfortunately, the Mean Green Carcatex would take the lead. But, well, he's leading as of lap 148, but he still has the nerve to wreck Ruby Easy Oaks. Why? Moray Clutchburn would luckily take the lead from the Mean Green car, leading for 11 laps before Misty Motocross would take the lead from him. She'd lead until lap 168, but Claude Scruggs, of course, has good things to say when Misty Motocross takes the lead. Greg Beeple would take the lead on lap 168, leading until lap 173, but Claude Scruggs has to complain because she lost the lead. Krusty Rotor would take the lead from Greg Beeple, leading until lap 179, where Chuck Hicks is 7th as of lap 179, when he wrecks Lee Revkins. Why? Slider Petrolski would somehow flip and not be out. Todd Marcus would take the lead after the restart, leading until lap 188, where Sage Vanderspin would take the lead from him. He'd lead until lap 190, where Ryan Newcar would take the lead from him. He'd lead until lap 191, but Chickax has to be 2nd as of that lap, when he wrecks Ryan Newcar, who goes airborne and into the catch fence. Why? The King would luckily take the lead from the Mean Green car, leading for the next 8 laps, where Floyd Mulvihill would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 4 laps before Chuck Armstrong would take the lead from him. He'd only lead for 3 laps before Darren Leadfoot would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 7 laps before Paunchy Wipeout would take the lead off of pit cycles. 2 laps later, Darren Leadfoot is back in the lead, leading until lap 227, where the King would take the lead from him. He'd lead until lap 239, where Moy Clutchburn would take the lead from him. He'd lead until lap 244, where Ernie Gearson would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 20 laps before Floyd Movelhill will retake the lead, leading for 3 laps before, unfortunately, he gets bumped by the Mean Green car. But luckily, on lap 298, Darren Leadfoot would be there to take the lead. And on lap 305, Sage Vanderspin would take the lead from Darren Leadfoot, leading for 7 laps before Chuck Armstrong would once again retake the lead, leading for 5 laps before the Mean Green car Chickets would lead for 2 laps. Ernie Gearson would luckily take the lead from him, leading until lap 331, where Winford Bradford Rutherford would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 5 laps, but then Chuck Armstrong would once again take the lead, leading until lap 342, where the King would take the lead from him. He'd lead for 6 laps before Paunchy Wipeout would once again take the lead, leading until lap 354, where Lightning McQueen gets back on the lead lap, and also Ernie Gearson takes the lead, leading for 3 laps before once again the King would take the lead. He'd lead until lap 366, where Chuck Armstrong would retake the lead, leading all the way until lap 380, where Floyd Movelhill would take the lead, desperate for his first win. But with 5 to go, Ernie Gearson would take the lead from him, leading the final 5 laps to win the 2005 Richmond 400. This is Ernie Gearson's first win in over 10 years. And Paunchy Wipeout gets his first top 10 since his win in 2003. Here is the top 20 in points, with the King, Chick Hicks, and Lightning McQueen all being tied for the lead at 5,013 points. Ernie Gearson comes into the top 20 because of his win. And these 3 cars, the King, Chick Hicks, and Lightning McQueen, are all able to win the Piston Cup this season. I'll make a separate video about this. And here is the rest of the top 5 in points. Tony Gasswort and Hollingus. Both are unable to win the Piston Cup this season. Try again next season.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
Never at any time in Piston Cup history have 3 cars been tied in points coming into the Dynaco 400. And I will be making a pre-race preview of the 2005 Dynaco 400, going more into detail about the King, Chick Hicks, and Lightning McQueen right before the 2005 Dynaco 400. Both videos will be coming out soon enough.